All right, we're still waiting for George Lambert. Mike Gill, who's our guest after that, is already here.
That's super.
And we got to figure out what headset you're on, since I don't even have a clue.
Yeah, and then
let's try
let's
that
say
one.
right behind Kasich was Scott Walker with 7 votes.
You can talk.
And
I don't even know if I have
me and George Lambert has a big problem.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was only getting 20% payoff from the victims of FRM. All you have to do is ask every one of them. He was the one that sponsored the bill to get their money back.
Yeah.
And nothing I haven't said to George Lambert himself.
Yeah.
If he winds up late, it might be because he knows I'm here.
Oh.
well, looks like we may have a lively program.
Well,
folks.
we're going to talk to George about Jennifer, and if he gets here, and then we'll go through all the. Actually, we might as well just start with you since he's not here.
Sure, let's
just go ahead
for
now.
it. So anyway, you can read the straw poll results on Granite Grok, but it was fascinating. And of course, right at the bottom, and I mean right at the bottom, were Jeb Bush and Chris Christie.
Yeah.
As I the surprises were that Scott Walker didn't place a little higher. And then right behind him, I think it was Rick Perry and Marco Rubio. And again, considering it was a room full of ladies and that Marco Rubio has those kind of boyish good looks, or so I'm told, I was surprised he didn't place higher.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Mike, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
You've been busy.
And I'm going to stay busy.
You're going to stay busy? Okay, good.
Yeah, George. I just told him about you, George. You know, about the 20% you were getting from the victims of FRM? How you tried to sponsor this bill?
Yes.
Only to turn around and cut off the investigation of who was involved in this?
I didn't try to cut off the investigation.
Oh, yes, you did.
Well, this is going to be good.
It's going to be better than you think.
Bear with us, folks, and we'll get them both on with headsets so you can hear them both. It sounds like there's been some interesting legislation, and now we have
I got to figure out where you are, George.
Some varying opinions.
Yes, true. Okay. All right. Real quick before we get into that, because we can do that in the next segment if everyone wants to hang out. We wanted to talk about Jen Horn.
Of course.
Real quick. Let's squeeze that in. How you doing?
Hi.
Let me make sure I have you. I got you. All right.
Okay, that worked.
I'm fine now.
All right. Thanks. Atlas Society. I'll be there later today.
Oh, okay. Great.
Cool.
All right. So
we got a full house.
We do. So the latest, please.
So we are.
We'll almost be on schedule if this happens.
So we are getting lists of the state committee members. This is like the most secret documents in the state, as far as like who was elected and selected.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like nobody has the list. We're going literally county by county, talking to people, saying who are your state committee members so that we can go out and recruit people. I've been talking to area chairmen, people like that. Still waiting for Hillsborough County list in case you know anyone who's got one.
I don't.
Neither
and I
do
live in Hillsborough County.
I know. Like, you can't get it.
Delegate list, right?
Yep. Though I've gotten most of them now.
Yeah.
We're still 2 counties short, and I can't tell you which ones because we just ran up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
I have some good news. State room and meals tax is absolutely going up, in case you didn't see the...
That's good news.
The motorcycles and stuff. It is just crazy.
Oh, the money, the revenue, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of bikes in the state. I think this is like the first bike week in who knows how long that it hasn't rained the whole week.
Oh, that's good.
So people are like, oh, it's not going to rain. I guess I'll go to bike week. That is good. All right, so the delegate hunt continues.
Yes.
Going along well.
I think both words are accurate, Steve. It seems like a delicate hunt because you don't want to spook the quarry as you collect them.
The super secret list.
Yeah.
Well,
so
as we I've been pretty public about the fact I'm going to get it because I have it from previous years.
Yep.
And I know the people who've signed on with us before, so I know where to go and look for most likely people. But we actually have people who are calling me now to get on the list, which is actually pretty good. We're going to get ready to put up a Google document so people can go and opt in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty exciting.
Cool. All right, and to remind people, this is to call the delegates together for a vote to remove Jennifer Horn as chairman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And are we going to attempt to remove anybody else while we're at this, or are we just going to focus on
that'll be up to the body itself. When, what we'll do is we'll get the content and discussion matter on the table and let the body decide if they're happy with the leadership.
Okay.
The reality is that any of the members of the executive board could have said to the lady who showed up and said, I have some concerns. They could have actually said, I'd like the floor, and delegated it to her rather than having her, because she says only the members of the E-board are allowed to speak.
Really?
They could have worked. Oh, yeah, Jennifer Horn said you're out of order. Well, if the leadership of your organization doesn't want to listen to you because you're out of order at their meeting, something's wrong. Any one of those people could have actually done the right thing, and they didn't. So let's let the delegate body decide when the members of the state committee can have a voice and won't be out of order.
Now, you think you're going to get enough people there? I mean, once you get enough signatures, which shouldn't be a problem because you're only 50.
Right. Well, after we have all the signatures, what we're going to do is go and poll the body and say, look, do you want this? We're not going to call a meeting if people don't want it. What we're going to do is we're going to say, we have the ability, okay? Either the state party can do the right thing, or we get enough consensus so that we can actually guarantee we'll remove Jen.
Right.
And I will know by the time we submit it to the state party that she is going to be removed at that meeting.
And this is the time to do it. This is the year before the election.
Mm-hmm.
This time next year would be a very bad time to change leadership. But I think enough people have enough problems with Jennifer, the style, the turnover, that it would be at least good to air the problems and see whether the delegates are willing to go for this. And as you say, it's not just that you need 50 signatures. You need to line up about 250 out of those 400 delegates, or else you are going to fail. You're going to find you get 190 to 210 or something with the evil gnome sitting on the stage grinning from ear to ear.
Well, actually, the other thing that we're going to do in our letter is actually put that all of the election ballots will actually be counted by unrelated third parties that will pay. Mm-hmm. Because I have significant concerns that we don't actually know what the results are, and the party has no mechanism for evaluation afterwards.
Mm-hmm. That's true, and there has been some, the last couple of votes that they've had at delegate assemblies have been kind of iffy.
We had an issue in Hillsborough County where they announced at a meeting that someone had been added to the committee, elected, and at the next meeting they said, oh, we never said that. So you have people in the room going, we heard it.
Yeah.
And they said...
And you're not recording those meetings, so...
No. And so...
Actually, isn't that... let me just make sure I get this right. I had thought that I'd been told by the chair of Hillsborough County that they forbid any kind of media or recording from their meetings.
Correct.
Is that true?
Probably.
Which basically means they're held in camera, or which means not on camera, and it's super secret.
Yes.
And
they throw anyone out who they want to.
And therefore you're delusional if you think you heard something.
Yeah. Actually, they told Matt Phillips while he was there that he won. I was there. We were all excited. And then the next meeting, they're going, oh, no, he didn't win. And so there were people in the room who knew this. So I challenged Ray Chadwick. I said, well, show us the ballots. I want to see them. And he says, no, only I can see them. And I made a motion to actually go out and produce the ballots because I figure the Hillsborough County body can do that. Mm-hmm. And he has got that so under his thumb. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. I mean, I didn't get elected as a delegate in Hillsborough County for the first time in 8 years this time around, but write-ins beat me. My wife, myself, and Matt Phillips all lost and were beaten by write-ins. I find that really, really strange since, we have been doing so much and been so vocal.
Right, which means you've got to do your organizing in the next level below to make sure that you're, that the county delegates are, as it were, all lined up in advance so that you don't lose. Mm-hmm. I wonder if the Democrat Party is internally corrupt as the Republican Party is, or whether it's simply externally corrupt. Meaning we know it's a crime family, but maybe they hang together.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think that the Republican Party is intentionally corrupt. I think that they are trying to each serve their own little fiefdom. And what we don't have is the coordination to say, what's our way to win together?
Right, which comes down to some of what's going to end up going on this next couple of years. There are organizations out there, such as the 603 Alliance, that are trying to help the Conservative Party pick a candidate conservative enough to get the grassroots excited. Mm-hmm. Not scary, just conservative.
I wish we'd done that in the last Senate race.
Right, and if we did that, or if we succeed in that move, then the chances are that the Republican Party will win too. Mm-hmm. But if the Republican Party insists on picking losing candidates, insists on ignoring the grassroots, eventually the grassroots will say it's third-party time. And everybody says that's the worst way of doing it. And I don't just mean the establishment types. Even ultra-conservatives like Richard Viguerie say taking over the party the right way is the way to do it, not trying to create another one, because that will splinter the vote worse. But ultimately, if we don't have the party responsive to its own grassroots, we are going to have an untenable situation, and nobody is going to be enthused to vote for the candidate that comes out at the end of the process.
Well, I think this is going to tie into what we talked to Mike about in the next segment, and why you're running for governor.
I am.
And one of the problems isn't just that the party politics, but the way the party politics is tied to state government and the corruption that goes on with the little families that are in charge of everything around here. And we'll dig into that because if we want to have the thing between you guys later, that's fine. But what you have to tell us about, and you've been talking about it for years now? Years, okay? And this really needs to keep coming out, and we really need to talk about the people at the top in the AG's office, in state government, in the political parties, and their connections.
It's a business.
It's a business.
They're all corrupt.
And
they come out of 2 law firms.
Yeah.
I mean, the house is on fire. We're talking about arranging the furniture. I mean, I have hard evidence right through, even with George here.
Yeah.
Unless, George, you want to tell everybody you weren't getting 20% from the victims.
Actually, there was an offer made to me to be the potential lobbyist for one of the families and potentially others, but I didn't force anyone.
Well, we can talk to all the families. They said 20%, and George said, "I don't know if I can trust you. I don't have a handshake. I don't have a contract. Maybe a handshake. You know what we can do? We can just line up about 40 of them. I already talked to them all and go through witness groups, right?" George, don't bullshit. We had this conversation. You know Richard Head's notes? You know, the one that knew about the Ponzi scheme in 2003. You know who gave them to me? This guy right here, George Lambert. You know, Richard Head's trying to get a summary judgment on me now on a forged tax return, right? How'd you get those notes, George? From the AG's office.
I went and asked him for them.
Oh, you went from asking. It only proved that the Ponzi scheme that they knew about at the AG's office and the Banking Commission in 2003. How's that? And do you know why we have those and why George gave them to me? Because it would have given them evidence to overturn FRM, give them pennies on the dollar with the explanation you are not to carry this forward. Do not investigate. George, we had that conversation. In fact, you told me to shut up and we had 12 votes. Or are you going to call me a liar?
I actually believed we had 12 votes.
Oh, you bet your ass you had 12 votes because it was fixed. That's why.
What was fixed?
The vote was fixed. How did he know the 12 votes already? I am telling you what this is. And that document, by the way, George, you might be laughing. It's with the Justice Department right now. And I put the case number up on the Internet. You know how many hits we had downloaded the case number to go on to a complaint? 1,000 by 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
My goal is 50,000, which also be a formula how to turn around and confront this corruption. So you talk about grassroots, right?
Yeah, this is the root of the problem. To get to the corruption, I don't think we can use, obviously, the state, the government, the court system.
Not one person in this state, which is why it's open for business. Bill Shaheen is part of this, with Gene Shaheen. Yeah. Who do you think put Hassan in? Hassan told herself she owes a career. Ayotte came from the AG. Who do you think covered it up? Right. They wanted this to go away. I've only had a dozen death threats. You can only see how on the Internet.
How do we get around the state court system, though? The
Department of Justice.
Okay.
And guess what? I have a case number there. I got 3 state immunities going on right now, high-level officials. That's right. And if I can get them immunity and get them to turn around and I sign a release, we're going to find out everything.
This is so important because we talk about every court case, from vote fraud to everything. It's all screwed up.
And right down to the police. Every one of them is leveraged by the other. Why do you think these guys get in trouble, think get off of trouble, over and over again? You don't think they may know something? Look at Hildreth. All he said was, if I go down, the governor goes down. He gets a 1-bedroom apartment in Kansas City. Now, why do you think he's there? Right. I only found him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in Kansas City?
That's right. 1-bedroom apartment.
We're going to have to dig into that a little bit.
We're not talking about a 1-bedroom apartment with bars, are we?
No. But we should be. He only had 2 of his brothers on the Ponzi scheme. You think that? and then turned around and think about this. The prosecution of FRM was done by John Kakavas, who only did work for me. Mm-hmm. And I went this close and told him I was putting his ass in jail. You can ask him. He prosecuted FRM. You know who was the defense attorney for FRM? Mark Howard, his business partner 3 months before. And for the 8 years before that. If you're going to commit a crime, you better hope your best friend's on the other side. And that's what he had.
Yeah,
that's corruption.
There is, and it's not just this issue; it's everything. This whole state. We've talked to people, national guests who write for, they talk about the way the court system works in the state. They talk about how everything from civil asset forfeiture all the way to the state suing gasoline companies, petrol companies for stuff that's in the water that they said to put in the gasoline or whatever, and it's just. And
you mean when MBTE was
right,
mandatory
exactly.
Until they found
and
out
then
and then
they sued them all. And it's like, you told us to put it in there, and now you're suing us for putting it in there. And it just...
I can't tell you how many businesses that I speak to. U.S. Spray Springs were just one. They had a $70 million contract annually with the UN for water. Bill Shaheen wanted the Billy tax. You know how many people won't come in, businesses won't come in this state? Do you know we were the worst state in creating jobs in the country?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they won't pay the tax, the Billy tax. I only have a check for an extortion for $100,000 with his ass on it.
Excellent.
Excuse me.
Billy tax. Oh, that's okay. We're not FCC regulated.
Good. So it's the Billy tax because we talking about the business enterprise tax?
Bill Shaheen.
Yeah, I know.
Shaheen and Gordon.
I know.
Gene, you want to do business in state? Listen, I wanted to put up a sign. Only cost me $100,000.
Oh.
Right, and I have the check. And they said if you cash it, it's criminal. Mm-hmm. Right. Now I have it. And so does the Justice Department. And I only have a controller who worked for me for 30 years. Her husband got in trouble for child molestation. Shaheen leveraged him. Right. You can have your 3 daughters be taken away from you. Your husband goes to jail, or you can work for us. Now, what I'm saying is in court documents. Right. Bill Shaheen.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to, this is, we're almost at the end of this segment, but we're going to go into, I want to ask you, I'll ask you in the next segment since I'm all out of time, but I don't think that federal court case is going to get much traction until we have somebody in the White House who will actually not try to get in the way and defend the Shaheens, right?
Well, we can't do it. I'll tell you why. Ready? Every president-elect goes into these states, and you know what they seek out? The power brokers. Mm-hmm. You know what the power brokers are? Generally the guy who's the most corrupt. Guess what? I mean, who do you think Hillary Clinton's campaign manager is? The same one Bill Shaheen and Gene had.
All right, we're going to get into this in a minute. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Yep.
Rock